What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Welcome to Texas Podcast. Thank you for all the day ones, all the new subscribers, likes, comments, feedback. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully, everybody's having a beautiful Sunday, spending time with their loved ones. Uh, I'm debating either, where to take my kid out, but it's hot out here, man. So most likely, it's gonna have to be somewhere inside. Probably take him somewhere inside, man. I got either some go karts or some arcades. I don't know. I'll figure it out later on here a little bit. But every other day I go and I window shop, right? I window shop. Um, I go through these guys' channel and look at the thumbnails, right? And just window shop, right? See what they got interesting or what they got to say or what's going on, right? What's going on their side of town. Hey, I gotta stay up to date. I gotta stay informed and up to date of what's going on in their side of town, right? I mean, they are gonna be my content. So I seen because I don't watch it, I just click on it and I just I fast forward all the way and I just read the live comments and that's it, right? If nothing's interesting, I leave it alone. Morning, RG6, how you doing, bro? So I don't I scroll real quick and I stop it and I listen for a few minutes and then I'll fast forward and I'll stop and listen for a few minutes. If during those any times that I fast forward and I stop, something catches my ear, I might listen a little bit further. But majority of the time it's just nonsense, right? I just glance through, I window shop, and I'm not actually buying nothing. I'm just looking, you know what I mean? So I seen that Mark was receiving calls from I guess a woman, right? Seems like she's a real jealous woman, insecure woman, right? Because she's calling him and bugging him, uh, running Mark's nerves up, right? Because you can see Mark's frustration on live when she calls him, "What do you want, baby?" Well, shit, man. She don't want to lose you to a boy. She's scared, man. She was already on the fence about that documentary, but when she sees you and that bottom boy Dante playing behind the scripts, you done told her, "Nah, baby, that documentary was scripted. Don't you see what me and Dante and the boys are doing right now? That's what I was doing up in Limestone, scripting it up. Come on, baby. Come on. The stomp down 5-star general. We can't get down like that, baby. I'm a down move. Come on, baby." Right? So you look at it, right? And you're like, whose grandma is off their medications? Whose grandma? Somebody needs to get their grandma and tell them who real Mark Moore is, right? It wasn't no scripted documentary. Right? That documentary, Mark did everything he said and did and more in that documentary. But I can understand somebody so gullible and looking in from the outside in, right? A female, right? She's under the impression that Mark did all that and said that it's this thing called parasocial uh disorder, right? Where they've seen Mark already on the documentary and they feel like Mark's a personality, man. Right? So everybody that Mark meets, he can play off of that. He can play off of that, right? No, baby, that's scripted. That documentary was scripted. Now I'm a YouTube star, right? I'm a content creator on YouTube. You see, I just moved from different platforms. That's all it is, baby. I don't know, man. There's different topics going on around, man. I know I've been talking about Dante for the last past 2 days, and I think it's fair enough for Mark to get some type of my attention since this really evolves around Mark. You know what I mean? It is Mark's world. But just like Dante and Mark have victims, and it seems like, Mark continues to do the gaslighting and the grooming because he's not really telling this female the truth, right? If Mark isn't really in an honest relationship, I hope he really tells her who he really is, right? Like, hey, that documentary was true. Don't go getting into a relationship that's based off lies and deceit. Don't do that, man. That's unhealthy to start a relationship with, and especially somebody in your situation. You're like a rotten apple, man. Nobody wants to take a bite out of you, man. And when somebody does, man, give them the truth, man. Give them the real Mark Moore. Don't tell them that this is YouTube and that was scripted, and then you got Dante and these other guys. What she only sees, she can only go by what she sees, right? And what she sees is Mark, Dante, June, and all these guys plays on social media, right? You see, baby, it's all scripted. Nah, man, me and Dante are cool, but we gotta go at it. We gotta go at it. We gotta make it seem like we're going at it. It's content, baby. It's content. Just like that documentary was content, baby. It was some scared straight type of stuff for the kids. It was for the kids, baby. Right? Because as you can see, I'm continuing to be a star out here. Why? Because Dante done spin the narrative so much. They're all in cahoots, right? They're all in cahoots with each other, right? But if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, man, tell her the truth of who you really are. That documentary is true. Don't lie. Don't start a relationship, man, and expect to build off of that if you're already starting off wrong by lying to her and being deceitful on who you really are. You want to come on the family network where who did I marry? You want to be on one of those episodes, Mark? Who did I really marry? Well, fuck, you married the Alabama booty monster, Mark Moore. Man, it's I don't get it, man. People are so, but I mean, you can only. I don't blame the female. Females nowadays, especially maybe if it's an older female, she wants attention, right? She already tried to justify Mark's. I'll be like, hey, look, I got a female, man. I got a female. But just looking at Mark's reaction when she calls him, he's frustrated, man. He's frustrated. He wants them pretty feet of David Mendes. He wants them pretty feet of them boys. He got a foot fetish, man. That foot fetish didn't stop up in Limestone. Mark is a fruity fetish monster, man. I'm gonna tell you from my experience, man. The best relationship that I ever had was a jealous woman. Right? The females that would hold me accountable, right? Are you gonna be drinking today? Are you gonna be smoking today? Are you gonna be popping pills? To where, I'm like, man, she probably ain't for me, man. She's too fucking annoying, right? She calls me every fucking minute. She's blowing me up. It's like, I can't do this. I can't do that. But shit, man, those are the ones you want to keep, man. Because in reality, they want the best for you, man. But you don't see it at the time, man. Because, everybody's still lost in their ways. I didn't see it at the beginning, man. But thank God that I was blessed. And I've been with that female for 17 years, man. She helped me build my foundation, right? So I can see the frustration in Mark. I'm like, man, but why, Mark? Like, she cares about you, man. She's reaching out to you. She wants the best for you. And you get frustrated because she's calling you. That's because your heart's not in it, man. You still got skeletons in your closet. And maybe she's not your cup of tea, man. Maybe you don't like the smell of fish. You like the smell of dookie. I don't blame you, man. You know, you've acquired a taste for forbidden fruit, and it's kind of hard for you to go back, man. It's like Fleece, man. Fleece tells you how it is, right? Fleece will tell you, man, that no woman can do what a man can do for him, right? He'll tell you. Fleece got shacked up, but you know what? Fleece would rather go back to a boy. And that's who you are, Mark. Deep down, that's who you are. You don't want a serious relationship with the female. You want a boy, man. You want a cover up. You want to be a down low brother, infecting everybody else, right? The unwillingly and the unknowingly. Still running your boo game out here, right? But on this one, you feel a little bit more better because maybe you're paying a bill or two, right? You're paying the light bill, you're taking her out. You're doing a little bit more than what your boys were doing for you, right? You're not actually taking and taking. You're actually contributing to her, right? So it's just sickening, man, that somebody's mom, grandma is laying next to you, man. And the only people that made it possible for you to do that was Dante, right? Because they're like, this is what we need to do. We got to go up. We gotta be on the same team, but we got to go against each other. It's all like WWF, right? It's all WrestleMania. It's all scripted and plotted behind the scenes before it gets filmed. Fake slaps, fake punches. The only real part that they played actually was fucking with me, right? The only serious part that they were really was attacking me, going after me. Because they're still in bed, man. They're still in cahoots. Everybody's still in cahoots, man. And they want to ask me, do you want to interview this guy? I don't want to interview nobody, man. The only person I want to interview or hear any kind of interviews is from the real victim, Brad. I'm not going to stop, man, till that happens. The real Brad. Like the Eminem says, can the real Brad please stand up? Please stand up. We need Brad to stand up, man. We need the real victim. We don't need photoshopped uh fake victims, right? If you want to put it to rest, bring out the real victim, right? Maybe Mark's guilty, maybe Mark's innocent. But the way y'all did it, scaring the victim, tells me Mark is guilty. So whatever Mark does, say, do, he's always guilty, right? He's going to be guilty, right? Until Brad comes out and says other, right? And says, you know what, man, it was scripted. It was fake. Until then, I want to hear the real victims. If you call yourself and you want to show redemption, bring out the real victim. Isn't that what you said you could do? Oh, I can make the victim an offer they can't refuse and bring him out. You can't do this with Brad, right? Because you already scared Brad off. You already exploited him. You already told him that I was going to try to exploit Brad. No, I just wanted the truth, man. I was taking the chance that maybe Brad could clear Mark's name, right? Maybe Brad was going to say, you know what, Mark's innocent, man. I'm innocent of Jonathan Schwartz. I'm a victim of Jonathan Schwartz's scheme, right? Jonathan Schwartz was a money grabbing producer. He portrayed us in negative light, right? I would have loved to hear that, right? But nobody wanted to take the chance. Nobody wanted to hear the real facts from the. Nobody wanted to hear guilty or not, right? Nobody wanted to hear it. So what did he do? Sabotage it, scare the victims. Not only did you call him, but you had a couple of your flunkies calling them, right? So he heard it from multiple voices. Yeah. So he ran with it, right? He ran with it. It's understandable. But now that you made contact with the mayor and Brad, why not bring out the victims, man? They got a good story, right? The mayor's the mayor, Brad's the deputy, a cop. All this shit, it's like a Netflix, man. It's like a lifetime movie, right? How the fuck did Brad become a deputy after being sodomized by Mark and JG? And now that he's a deputy, is he out here patrolling for the good, or is he racking up charges on the innocent folks? It's a lot of stuff going on, man. I would have loved got down to the bottom nitty gritty of the stuff, man. You know, instead of leaving out there to the open all these what ifs, it would have been nice. I mean, it still can be done because, as far as I know, Brad and the mayor are still alive. They're still in the same place. They ain't moved. They're still there. I don't want to hear from other victims, right? I don't want to hear from other victims other than Mark's victims. We know they exist. We know where they're at. Let's find them. Let's reach out to them. You're on the crusader path now, right? You're on the so-called good side. Let's bring out the real victims. Let's bring out Brad. Hashtag Brad. Hashtag Brad. Hashtag Brad. What's going on, Jed? Yeah, he did do that, man. He did do that. So now he did that because he wanted to defend Mark, right? That was the whole purpose of him doing that, right? What was the whole purpose of Dante discrediting me with the mayor, that I wanted to exploit the victims? Even though I was the one giving the victims time after time after time. Hey, y'all the one. Where they at? Where they at? Well, here y'all go. Fuck it. Eat him. There he goes. Swallow him up. There he goes. And what did y'all do? What did Dante do? Exploit him, right? Blackmail lies. The will wants to exploit. No, man. I wanted to do two things. Either clear Mark's name or find Mark guilty. Two things can happen, right? And I was willing to take that chance, right? I was going to take the chance to maybe even having to apologize to Mark, man. Hey, Mark, man, I'm sorry for what I. Fuck no, right? They didn't want to take the chance, right? So that speaks volumes. When you intimidate a witness, because that's what Dante did, right? In any courtroom setting, right? When a defendant or a prosecutor reaches out to the witness, right, and gives him false narrative, you intimidated the witness, man. You just basically fucked up the trial. It's like you're trying to bribe the witness, groom the witness, all for what? Why did you call the mayor and tell him that I wanted to exploit the victims? Why? And now you're for the victims. I just can't. Every day I'm like, man, well, other than these guys being in cahoots with everybody, right? Young Blood, June, everybody sleeping in the same bed. You know that saying, man, you sleep with dogs, you get up with fleas, man. And Mark's a dog that has fleas. Well, Dante is too, man. Dante has fleas and tigers. So when you align yourself with all these characters, you have no choice but to see, like, what's their agenda, man. So you start looking, you start analyzing by people. You start going, okay, well, that guy probably wants money. Okay, maybe he probably just wants attention. Maybe but then 9 out of 10 times, it all leads out to people wanting money, right? I don't blame him, right? Because when I seen Dante talking about him going to Dubai, Lambos, and he made more money than driving an 18-wheeler truck in 1 year than he did in 3 years driving a truck. And I'm like, whoa, fuck, this dude really making bank. You know what I mean? Maybe I should. Maybe what's the context? What are they doing? Bringing facts? Well, fuck, I can bring you facts. All right. Let me go find hips. Even through hips, it's the same shit as Mark, right? It's the ivory and black, right? It's the Johnson and the Bird of the booty game at Limestone, right? They were business partners, right? They were business partners, right? So if I'm business partners with somebody, 9 out of 10 times I'm a dib and dando in it, right? I'm gonna get my taste of it, right? And Hip said the first time I interviewed him, I have trouble keeping women longer for a few months, man, because I'm always trying to backdoor them. So right there, that solidified me that man, he was in there playing with them boys too, right? Consensually, willingly, unwillingly, they're all part of the mix, right? But sometimes you gotta use these type of characters to bring out to use it against that's what they use, right? A snitch, 9 out of 10 times is usually a guy that has a criminal background already, right? A sleam ball that can't do the time, and he's a criminal himself, right? FBI, DEA, local jurisdiction, they want a certain dude. They're gonna use that snitch, right? Because he's a criminal, and that's what they use. They use another criminal against another criminal, right? To be able to prosecute him. So that's what I had to do with Mark, right? I had to bring somebody from his inner circle to disclose his inner circle, right? His operations, what they would do. And I brought that to you through Hips, right? It's like almost Hips is like a corporate, like a he cooperated with the state, right? Even though I see Hips and Mark the same. I give Hips a little bit pass because he was a victim, right? But they're cut from the same cloth, right? Hips and Mark are cut from the same cloth, right? It's just the Bird and Johnson. They go hand in hand, man. Hand to hand. But Hips, you got to feel kind of sorry for Hips for being a victim. He got held down by 6 dudes, and he was forced to be a boy, right? He became a boy by force. And I guess him hanging around with Mark was, kind of a passage of not being a boy, right? Being able to still hold some kind of dignity, right? And integrity as being a man, right? So he had to indulge, participate in everything Mark did, right? And who's not to say that Hips participated in breaking of the boys? You know what I mean? Because Hips is a pretty big white dude. Hips is a pretty big white dude, man. You know, I can imagine him being in his prime. He could have probably been an intimidated white dude. He could have probably been like, y'all ever seen that movie Bad Boys? That 1980s movie Bad Boys with what's that guy's name? Fuck. Not the Bad Boys with Will Smith, man, but the original Bad Boys. The Bad Boys from the 80s. You got Marcus Birdie, and I can't remember what the white guy's name is. Viking. Viking. I think his name's Viking, right? Well, there you got it. You see? That's Mark and Hips running that juvenile institution. You know what I mean? Until the bit got there. You know what I mean? Same thing, man. I know a lot of people, if y'all watch that, if y'all are in this genre, I'm pretty sure y'all watch that movie Bad Boys, man. It's a 1980s juvenile type of movie, and then you got Mark and Hips in there. That's how I see them, right? In cahoots with each other. Maybe Hips being the maybe Hips being the good cop, bad cop, Mark being the bad cop, Hips being the good cop, right? They work together. Yeah, that one, bro. The Sean Penn movie. What's going on, JoJo? Yeah, the Sean Penn movie. I think the original Bad Boys when they're in New York and I think not Chicago. They're in Chicago. Chicago. And you got Viking and you got Birdie, Tweety. No, I think it's Tweety, man. Because the dude they kill him after he gets released from juvenile, right? It's Tweety and Viking, I think. And that's Mark and Hips, man. They were in cahoots. One was the lesser of evil, but they were both partakers in the same shit. They were both victimizing the vulnerable, right? Because if you support what Mark was doing and not putting a stop to it, man, you're part of the problem. But see, that's what JG says, man. You know, he would send his boys out there to go do it. Man, what the tattoo man? You can see Marvelous Ink, right? Being a tattoo man in the neighborhood, man, pussy gets thrown at you every day, man. The tattoo man ain't no different than the weed man in the hood, right? Bitches want to come around and smoke. Bitches want to get free tattoos, right? It's just the way it is in every fucking hood. I'm pretty sure that's the way it was when I was growing up, and I'm pretty sure nothing's changed. Just different players, right? Same game, just different players. That's it. Every year there's a new guy jumping off the porch. So I can't go back to my hood, right? Because I left my hood about uh 21 years ago, right? I can still go back. But if I go back, I've been gone 20 something years, man. In 20 something years, you know how many young dudes have jumped up that porch? Every year there's a young dude jumping off the porch. Every year. Yeah. That's what I think what Hips was doing. I think Hips was the leaster of the evil. I think Hips was the lover, the 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 financial support. Mark was just the muscle and the abuser, just taking advantage of the white boys. What's going on about Texas Barabbas? What's going on, Texas? Yeah, that's the Hip said. You know, if you go based off what that documentary said, man, you would have to agree that Hips was contributing to the problem of prison rape. It is what it is, right? Even through himself was a victim. That's where you can separate yourself, right? You can either become a victim or advocate, right? And be like, look, man, look, I was a victim, but now I'm here to speak up on it, and I want to make a change for it. I don't want nobody else to go through what I went through, and I want to speak up. I want to tell my story instead of being the problem and going along with it and turning other boys out. So once something happens to you, you have options, right? You can either do the right thing, or you can just brush it under the rug and let the next man go through what you went through. But most likely, people are so evil, man. People are so evil. They're like, man, fuck it. I went through it. You go through it, right? And that's evilness, man. That's evilness. To me, that's if you can prevent somebody from causing somebody trauma or life trauma or physically or mental trauma, help them out, man. Help them avoid it. Now, if you help them and they continue to do it, then man, you did your part, man. But at least you can say, I did my part, man. I tried. That's what they would do, man. And I think I think the times where Hips would say that Mark would make the boys fight. I think Mark would make Hips discipline them. See, only these two guys really know the truth, man. Mark is never going to tell the truth. Hips is only going to tell half of the truth. We need the victim, man. We need the victim. All we've been hearing stories from are from the monsters, the perpetrators, right? The aggressors. We need to hear from the real victims. We need to hear from the real victims. If Mark wants to clear his name and Dante wants to be on the right path, bring out the real victim. Solidify, Dante, that you do care about the victims. Bring out the real victim. Let his voice be heard. Let the truth be told. And let Mark be innocent or let Mark be guilty. But you have to let the victim speak, man. A statement, but no. What did you do? But maybe they don't want to do a statement either, man. Brad and the mayor, maybe they don't want to do a. No, I can still reach out, Hips, man. Hips owes me money, right? Hips is in the hole, right? Because Hips be calling me needing gas money. Hips be needing cigarette money. Hips be stranded on the side of the road. Noel, can you cash? Yeah, here you go, buddy. All right. So Hips is in debt, right? And Hips is also, as you would say, on the verbal contract, right? Anything that pertains into Mark or Hips or the turned out documentary, it's already so Hips. I have no use for Hips at the moment, right? I need to I need to hear the victim. Hips, what is Hips is just another Mark. They're part of the problem, right? Hips was, borderline telling the truth and borderline, lying. And I don't want to bother Hips, man. Hips looks like he got health issues of his own. 'Cause Jonathan Schwartz said lifetime health issues, right? So who has the lifetime health care issues? Mark, JG, Brad, Hips, Mendenhall, Harris. Who has the lifetime health care from being victims? Y'all ever thought about that? Y'all ever thought about that? Do y'all know what the symptoms are of HIV or AIDS is? Have y'all ever seen anybody or looked videos up or what's the first thing that pops up on people? Legions? Are legions? What is the most common symptom in that deadly disease, man? That lifetime health care. What is the number one symptom people appear with, right? When they look at themselves in the mirror or a part of their body. Something tells them, hey, something's wrong with me, man. Other than I'm losing appetite, a physical appearance happens to them, right? Legions, right? Legions start to appear, right? And things about legions, them motherfuckers don't heal, right? It's like a diabetic, right? A lot of people that are diabetics get lesions because they can't. That's why it's not good for diabetics to get cut, right? They won't heal up again. They can get infected and susceptible to losing that limb. It gets infected on their toe, man. If they don't treat it right or take care of it right, they might lose the whole foot or the leg. right? But that means your body's not producing something, not producing that insulin. Now that deadly virus is attacking you from within. So it's almost like if it's opening you up, man, from the outside in. You know what I mean? So the very first symptoms that people, appear, are legions. And they're real. Oh, they're for some reason they're always on the same place, man. They're always like on the cheeks, uh, on the facial. It's like it's you have to start, somebody have to have lifetime healthcare issues for Jonathan Schwartz to say that. Because once again, I did my research on certain people just on one person, right? Jonathan Schwartz did his research on numerous people, right? I'm pretty sure Limestone gave him access to inmates' disciplinary reports, inmates' pharmacy reports, medical reports, something to backtrack to say, hey, look, there goes the medical report where the kit was done, he was examined, his colon was ripped up, whatnot, right? He got a test done. What did the test came back? The test came back negative or positive after 2 weeks after the assault. All that stuff gets documented, man. So it appears that Jonathan Schwartz was privileged to that information, right? To those documents, disciplinary medical reports, to where he was comfortable making these calls of saying that Mark caused these people lifetime healthcare issue, right? So what people, what if we're going to be based off the documentary? It's only so many people. It's only so many people, right? Okay, it wasn't Mendenhall, right? Because he looked kind of healthy. He shacked up. His sister didn't mention anything of it, right? Uh, JG's not here. We haven't got a hold of the victim yet, but apparently it's not the victim because you know I think they have standards. You know what I mean? I think him having any kind of a transmittable disease would make him unacceptable to be on the force. Doing that, he has to be interacting with people, right? He has to be putting people in cuffs. He has to be arresting people, and 9 out of 10 times that's physical contact. The police department doesn't want to take the chance of a a criminal biting the cop and then the criminal catching AIDS because the cop has AIDS or some kind of disease. So it can't be the Brad. It can't be the deputy. You have to go analyze and start excluding people, right? Be like, nah, well, that guy's a cop. He can't have it, right? He can't have a disease because if he had a disease, he wouldn't be a cop or a deputy. Okay, so it ain't him. So now it leaves Mark in old hips. It leaves old Mark in old hips to say, who was Jonathan Schwartz mentioning or referring to when he made that up, when he made that reference, right? Who was he talking to about who? Because he clearly says Mark's the predator, right? So who is it? There's a reason Jonathan Schwartz said lifetime healthcare, right? He's seen medical reports, right? He's seen medical reports. He had seen incidents where kits were done, tests were done for the man to say that. So now, what I want to know, does Dante and everybody else over there that was saying that Jonathan Schwartz was a money grabbing Jew, right? That's what Jonathan Schwartz was. He was out to get the black man. But even through Jonathan Schwartz studied Brown civil rights movements, his parents were in that movement, right? And especially him being a Jew, or I don't know what he is, right? I don't see him being a racist and trying to slander the black man. And even then, looking at the man's credentials, y'all continue to say, "Oh, he's attacking the black man." That's just another white man going after the black man. So now, because Jonathan Schwartz's interview is part of the evidence, man. You have to review that evidence to make your assumption of Mark, your opinion. Before you were saying that Jonathan Schwartz was lies. Now, how do you feel? Do you agree with Jonathan Schwartz? Because now you're calling Marx an apex predator, but you're not bringing out no real victims to call Mark an apex predator. All you're doing is having a Photoshop picture with Mark, right? That's all you have, and that's where you're going off the. If you really wanted to care about the victims and said it was about bring out Brad. If you want me to leave you alone and leave everything alone, bring out Brad, man. Call me. We can make a three-way and we can verify, right? It's that simple. The truth. I set out to get the truth ever since I watched that fucking that first interview with Mark Moore on your show, man. The truth. What do you what why does everybody tune in for it? To be made an idiot, to be made a bamboozle, to fuck with your subscribers over, to make you feel superior over them, make you feel like you're running a play on them? Because that's what you're doing. You're running a play because you're acting like you hate Mark, but in reality, you're in bed. Everybody's in bed. Like I said, everybody is aligned with each other, has their own agenda. From Youngblood, from June, from NS, everybody has their own agenda, right? NS is like the big brother to Dante. NS is Dante's big brother, the voice of reasoning, right? That's his big brother. If you want to look at it, that's who Dante would sit there and listen to and take advice. You seen when Big Lee got on Dante's ass, right? When Big Lee was calling him out on it, right? Big Lee didn't lower his integrity, right? To please Dante and Mark. And what all Dante could do, give his little spectrum smirk and walk away, right? Even back then when Big Lee confronted you and told you that you were wrong, you continue to still defend Mark, right? You still continued. Even through somebody in your inner circle, somebody that you helped get onto to social media, right? They would call you, "Hey Dante, help us out, help us out." But you still continued. Now, if it's really, if you're really an honest man and honest truth, bring out Brad, man. Let's bring out Brad. And let's bring out the truth. But you're not, man. You're not. Because it's gonna take the cash cow away, right? You have Mark's the only one that's staked to the role, right? Mark's been the villain from day one. You you've been the defender. Now you become the prosecutor, and then you're gonna go back to defending him. What side are you on, man? Stop straddling the fence. Are you for the good? Or are you for the bad? Ain't nothing wrong with getting money, man. He was gonna come out. He was gonna come out, young blood. But you and the people that you have aligned yourself fucked it up. He was gonna come out. He was gonna come out. But now all of a sudden, y'all want to bring out these vulnerable white boys that have already been exploited by characters like by Mark, Cartoon, Mooney, and who knows how many other guys these white guys have been exploited by, right? In Alabama prison culture, right? In the Alabama prison system. And then y'all want to start bringing out these guys to interview these guys that are victim and to exploit their story. Are y'all going to help them? Are y'all going to try to find their perpetrators and say, look, let's find the guys that did this to you, man. Let's see what we can do. Are you willing to press charges on them? Are you willing to press charges on them, man? Because there's no statute of limitations, man. It's just your word. Are y'all really going to help these victims, or are y'all just going to exploit the victims? Like how Dante called the mayor and said I was going to exploit the victims, because this is what y'all going to do. Y'all going to bring white boys on y'all's platforms that have already been exploited by characters like by Mark, been sodomized, right? And y'all going to bring them onto y'all's platform to question them, to tell y'all what characters like Mark, people that y'all have aligned yourself with, were doing to them. So once again, Dante can run the manipulation of the social media boo game and exploit the vulnerable, the weakness of these poor white boys again. Double dipping. Double dipping on these poor white dudes, man. And once again, who's doing the victimizing? The blacks. Oh, that shouldn't be surprising, right? That shouldn't be an alarm, right? Because if you hear people say, hey, man, it's about 85, 90% that are doing it. Well, fuck, them are high numbers. Them are really fucking high numbers. So that means that every time you sit at a chow hall with a four bench men seat, right? Well, I'm going to explain how it is in Texas. 4 people, right? Those odds, that means those 3 dudes that are sitting at that table with me are booty bandits. Those odds are way off in Texas, man, because 3 of those dudes that are sitting at the table are my homeboys, and I know who they are. But you can't do it in Alabama, right? I guess in Alabama, if you sit with 4 people, 3 of those people, if you're not one of them, which would make you 100% bandit table, then you would be considered the 75% table if you're not a bandit yourself. So if you go to the next table, it's going to be the same shit. It's like you're going to be the outcast. Right now, in reality, there's no need to bring out other victims and exploit them and let them rerun their traumatic experiences. The only reason Brad needs to do that, because that documentary was worldwide, man. And Mark's on here trying to monetize and profitize off the victimizing, the vulnerability, and the exploitative tactics that he did, right? He's trying to profit still off of YouTube, right? And that's why Brad needs to come out, right? Not no random victim, right? We know that the white boys are getting through, and Dante doesn't care what happens to the white boys right now. He should care on trying to vindicate Mark's name. This is why we set it out for, right? To prove if Mark was innocent or not, right? And if we can help the victims that suffered at the hands of these monsters and the people that participated and people that backed them up and try to shove it under the rug, expose them people as well, man. Why not? Why not? Why not? I don't do it, man. You know, I'm not even fully committed to God yet, man. But I do it I do it for the good deed, man. Because you know what? Like at the end of the day, man, when I had my out of body experience, I knew there was something. I knew there was something, right? So I'm just doing my good deed, man. And by me doing the good deed, I got crawled through the shit. So be it, man. Because at the end of the day, you know what? God knows why I do it for. He knows I don't do it for the money, man. He knows I don't do it for the notoriety. Who wants to be an advocate for homosexual prison rape, right? Who? I'm not a victim of that self, right? I'm not. Nobody in my life or somebody close to me, a family member, has ever been a victim, right? I'm Mexican, right? So it really doesn't, like, I don't know, other than God wanted me to do this, right? I don't know why he got me tuning into watching the Dante show, right? Never watched it before, but it just popped up on my feed and I got intrigued and something was in me to say that this guy was lying. And I set out to prove it. And that's what I did, right? So let's finish. Let's hear it from Brad, man. Let's hear it from Brad. Let's hear it from his mayor. Let's hear it from them. It's like, hey, if you want to stop people bothering you and harassing you, just tell your story, man. You had no problem telling your story on the documentary 30 years ago. You shouldn't have a problem telling you now. I mean, you just can't uh leave it out there because you got a guy like Mark saying that it didn't happen. Did it happen or not? I mean, you're the reasoning voice. You're the final voice, right? We set this out. I set this out to do for the victims, man. Right? For the victims to be out there saying, man, you know, that documentary is true. It's being studied in seminars. So if Brad and the mayor are studying this documentary in seminars, it's actually true, right? They talk about the coercion, the boo game, of what happens in prison. So now you got Mark. The mayor and them need to know the truth, man. I guarantee you, if you reach out to them, if we reach out to them and we tell them Mark's out here making money off of you guys and you're on board, like you're so-called on board now, right? Like you want to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Just like you called them and told them that I was going to exploit them and told them the false narrative. Tell them the truth, right? Tell them the truth, right? Because when I was talking to them, when I was talking to the mayor and them, they told me, give us time. They didn't tell me no. They didn't tell me no. They didn't tell me no, right? They told me no until Dante called them and told them a false narrative, right? Because they were just telling me, give us time. I understood what they were telling me, why give them time. They're deputies. They're a mayor. They don't want to be associated with characters like Mark and Dante, right? The mayor's a good old boy. He don't want to associate with you, man. Especially after what Mark did to Brad. But he has to be cordial and civil, right? He's the mayor. But at nighttime, that mayor puts on that white hoodie. He's a good old boy, right? I guarantee you, man. Reach him out to him again and tell him, hey, we want to get to the bottom to what Mark did to your buddy. Check out this other unedited, man. How he walks through it. Do y'all know this version's out? This version's more graphic. This one actually says that Mark, after poor Brad defecates all over himself, Mark pound-towns him again. So you don't feel sympathy for your cousin that Mark did that, man? That after guys cream pied him, tag team him like a wrestling match. After his poor intestines couldn't handle no more, he had to go defecate. Mark pounded him again. laying them down, caressing them, walking them through a panic attack that Mark created. And these are the same people that you align yourself with, right? Right? These are the people. Like God Soldier told me, "Oh, you don't kick it with me." I said, "Why would I hang out with you, man? If you support people that support Mark, why? I already had one more. I already had one." But you see, you give him enough rope, everybody hangs himself, right? It's that saying, man. You just give them enough rope, they'll do themselves in. It's that old saying, man. People will get themselves their own. All you got to do is sit back and watch and let nature take its course, right? It's like the lion, when he takes off by himself into the wilderness to where he can just collapse, right? That's it. He knows that's it for him. Everybody, Brad and the mayor, I guarantee you, man, if they would have been reached out properly, they would have been on board. Because they told me, give us time, give us time. We're going to reach out to you. You found us, give us time. Give us time, right? Well, but you didn't want to know the truth, right? You don't want to know the truth, right? But what did you do right away? You confirmed that Mark had a victim. By fucking up my play, you confirmed that Mark had a victim, right? And that's why once you confirmed yourself, Mark had a victim, you're like, fuck, I gotta switch sides. I gotta switch sides, right? That was your own doing, right? You try to think, oh yeah, I'm gonna shut down the world. I'm gonna shut him down. You shut yourself down, right? You had to make yourself look like a fraudulent flip flopper, a power bottom. Now you did this yourself. You did it yourself, right? You confirmed that Brad is out there and still existing and living and is a victim, right? Because to this day, he's a victim. Until Brad says other, Brad is a victim. Brad is the victim, right? Brad is the victim, and you confirmed it. So you had to switch your position, right? And that's what's telling you, man, fuck, Mark's guilty, man. You're making yourself more look stupider, right? So you had to listen to NS. You weren't listening to your wife. You had to listen to NS, your big brother. NS is your big brother. He's like your spiritual man, right? He's the holy roller, right? He's the he hates the alphabet community. He hates Mark, what he stands for. And right now he hates that Mark is shacked up with the female. It's killing him inside. It's bothering him, right? But that's also thank you to Dante, right? Well, me and NS had talked numerous times, right? Me and NS had talked numerous times off camera, right? And that was NS's biggest fear, right? That Mark was going to shack up with an unknowing female. And God strike me down if I'm lying. If I'm lying, may God strike me down if me and NS did not have this conversation, right? NS' biggest fear was for Mark to shack up with an unwillingly knowing female. Can you imagine, Noel? Noel, can you imagine? The philosopher. Yes. Why do you think I was calling NS the Judas? Right? Because You're over there rocking with Dante. You're supposed to be his spiritual, and then you come over here and you tell me you spilled the beans. I don't make nothing up, man. So once I seen that there was turmoil in paradise going back, and I knew NS right then and there, I knew NS was the financial support, right? They can say whatever they want that I'm bullshit, but they know I'm telling the truth, right? I'm tired of it, man. I'm uh I'm an honest person, man. And once I choose my religion, I'm gonna be a more honest person, man. You know, I don't know how much more honest I can get instead of stop cussing and stop being so aggravated, right? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what's there for me. I have to take that step, man. Oh yeah, the fake apology, man. A real man, a real man don't apologize, man, because a real man don't fuck up, man. You're gonna analyze and sit there and think before you do something, man. We're no longer boys or kids till we can justify our actions and be like, oh man, we thought at the whim of him. No, man, we're grown men. We should think before our say and do our actions now, right? We should think and think, man, if we do this, this could happen. If we do that, this could happen. Do all your what ifs, man. Once you do all your what ifs and you analyze and you choose the best one that fits for you, man, because then you'd be like, if I do this, that can happen and that can happen, right? If I do this can happen and that can happen. If I go about it this way, this can happen and that can happen and that can happen. But a lot of people don't have that analytic mind, man. That's just too much problem solving for them, right? So they just jump off the whatever feels, especially when you have borderline spectrum. You see something, you jump on it, and you're like, oh, let me manipulate the situation. A real man's gonna sit there. What do you think? There's kings, man. Back in the old time, these kings were meant to be kings and leaderships. There was no need to apologize back then. Because whatever the call was that was what's meant to be. That's what it was, and that's what we're gonna stick to it. We don't owe nobody an apology. Why? Because we thought over it. We planned it. We asked the gods, and they showed us this is what's the way. So there's no need to apologize, man. Only when it's fake. And see, JoJo's right. Dante distorted the whole thing because he wanted all the credit. Now he's trying to salvage what's left. But what's left? What's left is there's nothing. There's nothing. Everybody, the only one that's still stuck the same is like me, right? I still stuck to my guns. Mark is still stuck to his guns. Everybody else has switched sides. Everybody else has flipped one way or another. First you're on the good, now you align yourself with the bad. Now at first you were aligning yourself with the bad, now you want to align yourself with the good. There is nothing left. Mark is still the monster. If Dante really wanted to save it, bring out the victim, man. But he won't do that, right? It's a conflict of interest, right? They want to portray to social media that Dante and June and everybody's going at it, right? It's WWF, WrestleMania, right? Everybody, it's the perspective, right? Everybody looking in thinks everybody's fighting, but once the cameras go off, the phone calls are going in, the messages are coming through. Hey, good one, man. Next time we talk about this, tell your wife I said hi. Uh, it's positive and negative reinforcement, right? All over the place. But somebody like myself can see the manipulation miles and miles away, right? You just play dummy. You just got to play dummy, man. So while you play dummy, they feel like, oh, they're superior and they got one over you. But that's just you playing possum. You playing dead. Right? But like I told you, man, uh, I'm I I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed. You can't be at stuff when you expected it, right? Like I tell you, man, I plan ahead. I look at all the what ifs. That's how I survived all my life, right? Before I do something, I look at all the what ifs. Not just, damn, you do it, man. There's a bag at the end of the day. But shit, not knowing that, hey, I can get one to my head, or I can go to prison for more time than what you already did. So you sit there and you do all your what ifs. What if this can happen? What if that can happen? What if this? And once you do, okay, what if that? Okay, what? Then you go from the next. Okay, if that happens, then that possibility will. But not everybody. You know what I mean? So I look at Dante and I'm like, okay, what's your game point, man? Other than making yourself, you lost all credibility, man, as a content creator, right? And now instead of continue to save it and really salvage it and be like, look, what man, look, I reached out to Noel. Uh, we're bringing out the real victim, and it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Once the victim comes out, tells his truth, everybody parts way, man. I don't want to associate myself with you, man. I don't want to be part of your network. I don't want to be at the same table with you. But I will come meet you halfway to bring out the real victim. Isn't that what you told me that one time? Me and you are going to bring out the real victim, right? Right? So even when you so-called had my computer hacked, you were already trying to be the savior, right? But you wanted me to go with any kind of false narrative. Okay, we're going to bring a fake Brad out. We're not going to bring the real Brad out. I know who the real Brad's at. I know where Youngblood only has so much information, right? Youngblood only has so much information, which is not much, right? He doesn't know where he lives. He doesn't know where he works. He doesn't know none of that, right? I do. I know how he looks. Now I know how he sounds. Youngblood doesn't. So the information Youngblood has is very limited. It's very limited, right? And I do things for a purpose, right? You give him enough, right? You give him enough to they still need you. You don't give him enough. You know what I mean? You give them enough to they think that they're full and they got you. Like, right? That's another one, man. You know, when everybody has said, "Hey, man, Dante got you, man," when I was like, I was about to leave it alone, right? I was going to leave it alone, man. Instead of being a real dude and say, "You know what, man, your account's all right, man." What was he going to do? Bamboozle me into giving him the password of my account where he can change the password, because there was nothing wrong with the account to begin with, right? It was just my delusional mind, my paranoid mind, right? Because this, once again, this is his environment, right? He's an apex predator in the social media. I give him that. This is his environment, right? He told me numerous times, you're not meant for this. This is not your lane. Stay out of it, right? So I was a victim of his tactics, right? He ran with the narrative. So just imagine, man, if I would have gave him the password, he would have had another account monetized, right? Giving it to somebody like forensics or uh, somebody else that's been rocking with him, right? That's the thing, bro. It's a fucking good Lifetime series, Netflix type of deal. Brad the deputy Two things for Brad the deputy, man. Brad the deputy can be an honest protector of the community, or Brad can be a fucking dirty cop, planning stuff on people, locking them up, running up his quota. Because you got to remember, man, cops got to get quotas. They gotta write so many police reports. They gotta write so many tickets. They have to do so many arrests per month. They have to do a quota, right? So if I have to get a quota, and I have a lot of hatred and animosity to people that look like Mark, and I'm in a position to take my get back, I'm gonna get my get back, man. I'm gonna get my get back. So so for Brad not wanting to come out, there's a lot of stuff going. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, man. That a lot of people. That's why I didn't want to reach out. I didn't want to bother them so much, right? Because I'm like, this guy's a cop. Ain't no telling if he's doing something shady that he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to open up a can of worms that they can't shut. Can you imagine how many fucking open cases people would get released if these guys are doing something foul? Can you imagine how many people are locked up for Brad doing something if he is doing something? Because you can only allege, right? You can only allege that, you know, him being in a position that he was, from being in the position of vulnerability at the hands of people like Mark. Uh, I've heard it from Hips, and Hips said that if he would ever see any of these guys that did that to him, he would take him out, right? And this is Hips. This is Hips, right? So now you got Brad the deputy that's already had some kind of training, he's already been broken into the street. So that adrenaline that when you have as a first time on the job, it's gone, right? You already got it in your bones. You've already been on the job for a couple of years. You already know what you're expecting. You see, the mayor and the Brad might not want a lot of people coming out of them prisons for free and innocent. Lawsuits left and right. Lawsuits left and right, right? Somebody's family will be the owner of that Jackson County. You know what I mean? It won't no longer be a white only community. Somebody will really get the reparations. It's bigger than just Mark, man. It's bigger than just Mark. All right. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people don't know, that we just assuming and alleging. How did Brad become a deputy? Well, we know his family member's a mayor, right? That's one of the highest public officials in a city, and even in the state, in a city wise, the mayor. Everything else goes down, especially I think that place house, like, I think the last time I checked was like 900 people. So there's a lot of things, man. If you really wanted to get to the facts, man, you know, we could have did it that way, man. You know, it's life after turned out, man. You see the outcome of what happens to people being turned out, man. You would have seen the life of Mendenhall, right? You would have seen the life of Hips that's still not recovered, right? And then now you would have seen the life of Brad, deputy, able to succeed. Now he's a protector for the community, enforcing the law. Once breaking the law, now he's enforcing the law. Man, that's a lifetime Netflix movie, man. That's a Netflix lifetime movie. Just in itself, there's so much stuff. You got a cop that was a bad. Now there's so many off spins. So many off spins, man. And one good documentary. But no, but no. Oh, Dante didn't want to. Right? You know, a cream pie. Yeah. I don't. I think they just want to cover it up because they don't want to. They don't want to open up a bigger can of worms on their end. I think the mayor and Brad, they want to let old dogs. They just want to let old dogs lay. They don't want to. They don't want to make a ruckus. Both of them, bro. I think it's too many. It's too many venues. It's too many avenues. It's like I want to know if Brad, the deputy, is locking people up, man, innocent people up. Because by Brad not coming out and making a statement, tells me he's hiding something. Right? I feel like Brad's hiding something, and so is the mayor. It's there's a lot of venues, a lot of avenues that we can choose to go, man. Like I'm more intrigued if the cops are always my number one enemy, man. They're the ones that lock us up, and they're the common enemy for everybody, man. You know, I don't got nothing against cops, man, as long as they do their job and they're for the people, you know. But if they're setting people up and just getting their numbers uh the wrong way, abusing their power because somebody made them vulnerable, and they just want to keep it under the cover, under the rug. See, that's why there's their silence. Their silence is just too tricky. It just means too much to me to where, okay, man, you have the opportunity to make a difference right now, man. Get Mark off of YouTube. He's profiting off of victimizing you, right? What you went through, he's saying you didn't go through. So all he had to do was reach out to me and said, you know what, man, that documentary was real. I don't want to talk about it because I'm in a different type of thing. Uh, that's my statement. I would have left it alone, man. I would have left it alone. I would have been content. And that's what I was waiting for Brad to call me, bro. I was patiently waiting for him. I gave him my time. The mayor said, hey, I told Brad to give you a call. He'll call you again. Right. So I was doing my time. I was doing my due diligence. I was giving them the time for them to do their thing. Right. But then as time went by and I'm like, man, if you were a victim and somebody reached out for you and asked you for a statement to see if it was true or not, uh, to avoid any more further disturbance of my life, I would have reached out and said, "Look, man, look, this is the game plan. This is the thing. Yes, it's true. I don't want to be involved, but yes, that's it." I wouldn't have pressed the issue, man, because it would have been a dead issue right there, right? He said yes, and that's it. What else more? What else more? That would have been it. That's it. If you wanted now, if Brad would have said that, it would have been up to everybody else, myself, every subscriber, every viewer, every person that pays your membership. It would have been up to them to make their own opinion, right? And say, look, well, I'm gonna still rock with Mark, even through Mark has a victim. I'm gonna support him. But then you're gonna have to question yourself. Then, if I support Mark, I have to support all of them. You support one predator, you support all of them. So if you're gonna support one predator, go pull up the register in your community and go buy them a gift card. You got a list. Go be Santa Claus. Go download the registry and go by to the closest one that lives to you and give them a gift card and tell them, look, I support Mark and I support you too as well. Because that's the harsh reality, man. That's what Mark is. It would have been lovely and nice to hear the honest truth. Exactly, bro. That's what I don't understand, Jojo. How can you speak so bad about Mark now where people can rewind and go back to the videos and see how you were defending Mark? What new evidence came? Was Dante able to talk to Brad? And I did a video with convict's perspective, right? But I didn't know that dude's background. That dude Flacco is a snitch and a no good, right? You can't associate with yourself with them type of people. You know, once you snitch on people and you put your own brothers in prison, you're no good, man. You're a piece of shit. And the only time the reason I interacted with Flacco was because Flacco had made a video calling Tango Blast a bunch of degenerates. And I made a response to it, right? And I kept on attacking him in his video saying, hey, you don't know nothing about us. You can't be calling us a bunch of degenerates, you know? And that's how I got introduced to Flacco, right? But I should have did my homework, right? I thought Flacco was just a dropout from a gang, right? I figured, hey, fuck it. He's from California, ain't got nothing to do with me, right? But then once I started reading all his paperwork, and there's paperwork on there, right? There's paperwork that he snitched on people for a few ounces of meth, of gun cases. It's all documented, man. You pull up his name and you can find it, right? It's that simple. So I had to go and do my homework. Once I found out, he would call me and text me, "Hey, let's do some content together. I'm gonna do some videos for you. I'm gonna do some." But I already had the feeling that dude was a dope fiend, right? Because he would call me and he would text me asking for money, right? And this is somebody I had just met, right? So I'm like, no, this guy, and he's on something, man. He just wants he's an opportunist and advantage, and you cut ties with them, and that's what I did. A lot of these people, a lot of these people have a lot of these people on YouTube fooled. A lot of people, man. A lot of people. A lot of people from organizations make it seem like their shit don't stink, right? A lot of people. There's a lot of organizations in the 80s and 90s in Texas that was okay with their leaders having homosexuals. It's documented, right? It's documented. You had leaders from Texas Syndicate, the Mexican Mafia, Mandingo Warriors, the Aryan Brotherhood. At one time or another, all these guys had boys, and it was accepted, right? Not until the Tango Blast came and we stopped all that shit, right? We stopped all that shit, right? We stopped all that shit, right? Right? So every organization has their flaws, right? Every organization has their flaws. Tango Blast flaws is there's no rules. There's no hierarchy, right? That's one of its downfalls, right? One of its cons, that there's no hierarchy, right? There's nobody to answer to, right? Some would say, I agree. I like structure, right? That's one of the cons. But every organization has their flaws. See, that's the thing, man, that a lot of these guys from Alabama prison, they're all in cahoots with each other, man. They're all in cahoots. They all know each other. They all want to speak highly of each other, right? Because they don't want the other speaking the other of them, right? It seems like hey, you talk about me good, I talk good about you. You won't tell them about my bad stuff, I won't tell them about your bad stuff, right? It's that simple, right? It's that Boy Scouts honor. Hey, you won't tell on me, I won't tell on you. And that's what it seems like with this Alabama prison culture, man. You really can't, you don't even know who's who, right? You don't know who's who. You don't know who's an apex predator, who's a wolf in sheep's clothes. You don't know. All you see is the same tactics, right? So what did they say? Birds of a feather flock together. I know. I think it's been compromised, JoJo. I think I have to address the elephant in the room, right? I think Youngblood has been compromised. See, I I see it like this. If people wanted to speak up for the people, you don't align yourself. You don't align yourself with the people that were discrediting you or going against you, right? You do the reasonable thing is you go to your own channel and you spew your messages on your own channel. You let people come to you, right? But when you go and you align yourself with the opposition that was consider your opposition, it's just a bad way. It's just a bad look for anybody, right? It's a bad look for Dante and it's a bad look for Youngblood, right? You have to address the elephant in the room. You have to call it for what it is. I knew Youngblood had been compromised for a while back. Right. But I let it play out. It's part of letting nature take its course. I don't got nothing against Youngblood. Nothing, man. He's doing his things for maybe he feels they're right, but it's no different than Dante, right? That's why God Soldier, right? I'm gonna put a perfect example. What God Soldier did, right? God Soldier got tired of people not inviting him to the panels, not people muting him, right? So what did he do? He said, "Hey, I'm gonna come hold some of my own lives over here. Let people come to me." Youngblood should have did the same thing, man. He had his channel, and there was numerous times that I told him, "Hey, Youngblood, you want to get your channel going? You want to get your channel going?" And that's just me testing the water, right? That's just me testing the water. Because if somebody's so inserted and so for the good of the people, why not create your channel and spew your messages on your channel? Grow your channel. But then I started seeing the agenda, right? I said, "Oh, no, too much, just too much." And I try to let it play out, and I try to see, nah, man, maybe you're reading too much into it. But no, it's that gut instinct, man. You know what I mean? I thought so too, bro. I thought so too. I thought so too. But once you've been compromised, once 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 you tell me that they want to pay you, because I'm this all this stuff is because Youngblood, hey, June wants to pay me. He wants me to go to his panel. He wants to pay me. So right away, when somebody says pay somebody, man, people do funny stuff for money, man. they do strange things for some change, right? It's just the way it is, man. So when you get all these and you put the piece together and be like, oh man, Youngblood's over there. You know, they probably offered them a penny. They probably told him, hey, uh, come over here. And it's rightfully so, right? That's his environment, right? He's around his people. I can't expect, man, like you have to call it for what it is, man. Everybody has their own agenda, right? If you wanted to help people, right, you bring them on your own platform, create your platform. Be like, this platform, my channel is going to be for speaking of the good. But you aligned yourself with people that doxed your daughter, harassed your daughter. Do you imagine if these guys were sexual predators, man, and they were really about that? They would have put your life, your daughter's life in danger. And for you to sit there and be like, oh, they apologized to me and that made it okay. That tells me that regardless, whatever your own kind do to you, you're always going to be okay with it. Right? Because it comes back to it that you're black, right? You're going to stick to your own kind. And that's rightfully so. I would do the same thing too, man. I would do the same thing too, right? If you were to tell me who would align myself, uh, A or B, I will go to my people, right? So I don't expect you to hold loyalty to me or that was never my plan. I knew that coming from a person that did 20 years in Alabama prison, uh, probably had little interaction with the Mexicans. So you're gonna stick with your own people. So I would have been bamboozled or blinded to think that Youngblood was gonna hold any kind of loyalty to me, right? I knew he had been compromised months back, right? Months back. That's why I stopped inviting him to my lives, right? I basically stopped uh I cut ties, right? I basically stopped, interacting. I stopped texting, he would text me and me being cordial and respectful. I would reply back, right? But sometimes you get tired of playing the dumb role, man. You know? You get tired of it, man. Because it's like they really think I'm dumb, you know? And you would think that by me giving them messages and messages that I know that he was passing on to June and June was passing on to Dante, right? That's why I said the messenger showing off the message, right? But y'all miss it. No, it's cool, young blood. It's cool, man. It's 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 cool, man. I ain't got nothing against you, man. It's cool, man. It's cool. That's nah. See, cause when you have communication with the opposition, man, you playing both sides of the field. Because there's been numerous times that I've asked you, hey, what does Mark and them say? And you don't say nothing, right? You act like, oh, no, no, right? There's nothing wrong, man. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in blood. I mean, it is what it is, man. I can't cry over spilled milk, man. I seen it coming, and that's why it is what it is. It is what it is, man. Uh if you really were for the people, that you really wanted to help people, the victims, you don't take the victims where they were victim shaming them. You don't take victims to where people were victim shaming them. Right? You take them to your own platform and you let them, hey, look, I'm here for the people. You don't align yourself, right? You don't align yourself with people that wished you bad at one time, and a simple apology makes it okay. Everybody's in cahoots. I asked you. I said, tell Mark, let me have his number, right? You don't want to give me Mark's number because everybody's in cahoots, right? Everybody's in cahoots with each other, right? Everybody's in cahoots. Everybody's talking to everybody. Everybody's the outcast except Noel, right? They welcome young blood in because young blood's, one of their kind, right? He's one of us. I've seen Dante doing many a times, right? He squashed all his beef with Coach Stacks, Big Tonka. Everybody that was attacking Mark that was black, Dante was able to squash the beef and work with them, right? Everybody that Dante was beefing that was attacking Mark was black. Dante was able to maneuver it. And what happened? All of a sudden you had Coach Stack doing interviews on Dante's channel, right? But the only one he can't make peace or leave alone, right? Or not try to not spin any kind of narrative was me, right? Right. They say, uh, let's get Youngblood over here. He's one of our own. And what do? Even through they both lowered their standards to be able to fit, right? God told JNS they don't like Muslims, right? They've naturally spoke their hatred for Muslims, right? You see these people's characters, man. You try to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? And all you see is continue them aligning themselves, aligning themselves, aligning themselves. And it all comes down to it, the mentality of prison and streets. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I, it's it's like it's being two-faced, man. You're talking to me and then you're talking to the oppositions behind my back and not letting me know what they're telling, but at the same time, you're disclosing information about me, right? You tell me a lot of things just don't add up, man. You tell me, hey, I'm about to put my phone up and I'm gonna let my phone charge up and I'll hit you up tomorrow, right? And then you're over there doing the live, right? Instead of being a man with me and saying, you know what, I'm already tied in with these guys over here. I'll reach. I'll let you know when I have time, right? There's just so many pieces to the puzzle, man, that I just put together and I make my own assumption, man. When you act like you have something to hide, as a man, you can tell me, hey, I'm about to go over there and do a live with them, man. Don't tell me that you're going to about to charge your phone and I'll see you tomorrow. Like you're not going to do nothing, right? Like 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 if I was asking you to do a live with me, I wasn't asking you to do no live with me. You could have easily said, hey, all right, Noel, I'll see you tomorrow, man. I'm gonna go do a live over with them guys. You could have kept it real, right? But when you start going around the bush and being deceitful, it starts looking kind of funny, right? And then I start looking at all these other aspects and be like, man, he's probably showing them people my messages, right? So when you start doing all that stuff that looks like kind of shady, you know, it looks shady, man. I mean, I thought I figured, man, I said, man, maybe I didn't look at I went to go look at the video. I said, maybe he's over there trying to, convert him or nah, it was more just trying to be buddies and be in the line and now part of being the in crowd. It's like instead of going on your own and doing your own young blood content, I would have respected that more, man. I would have respected like you go your channel and fight your battle, right? And be like, oh yeah, he's really for the people, man. He really speaking the facts. You could have reached out and said, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? I would have gave you pointers. Yeah, you do this. This is how you download it. This is how you do that. I wouldn't have charged you. You had an ally on with me, right? You had an ally that said, hey, how do you do thumbnails? Can you show me how to do thumbnails? Yeah, here you go, man. Or send me the things that you want. I'll put it under for you. And I'll send it to you you can just upload it. I wasn't going to charge you a dime. Why? Because I felt like you were on the same track like I was. But instead, you aligned yourself with people that were your opposition, right? That's like you being 100% Muslim and then converting to Christianity. Would you do that? I don't think so, because you hold your religion that I would expect at a high standard. So my problem is to confirm it with your enemies, right? For what? For what? When you start doing like, too much stuff, man, that just seems like it's just awkward, man. And then you see him over there, and you're like, man, there's no information to disclose about me. There's nothing. I didn't disclose nothing in personal information other than my health. That's it. Because that's like, well, if I'm not consistent, when you take it upon yourself to create your own channel, right? Well, the same thing God Soldier did, right? The same thing that God Soldier did with his 64 or 74 subscribers that he got. He created his own live, right? Or started hosting them, right? He wanted to spew his message out there, his message, what he believed and what he felt. And if you didn't agree, he was going to block you or ban you, right? And that's what I was expecting you to do, young blood. Basically, by you aligning yourself with them, it takes everything me and you did together apart. Basically, the what we did was pointless. In any kind of war, if you look at it in the war tactical, street tactical, prison tactical, whatever we did together is wiped out by you doing that. So what we did was pointless, right? That's like going to war, me losing a limb, right? Because I was the one being personally attacked, right? I was the one getting the shit stick of the deal, right? I was getting the shit stick of the deal, right? Right. And for you to be my comrade, right? And then for you to leave and be the comrade of the enemy. While you could have had an option of going on your own, right? You could have been your own disciple and said, you know what? I'm going on my own. That's treachery, right? Treason, right? It's treason, man. It's like I invited you, I welcomed you in. Uh we were supposed to stand up together for what we thought was right, right? I still believe what I'm doing is right. I haven't conformed to anybody's other ideology, right? I haven't lowered my standards, right? Even through I've been the shit stick of the deal, right? I've gotten the shit stick of the deal for months and months and months, right? And that's why sometimes it's better just to be on your own, man. And I broke my rule right there, man. You know, it's better just to uh be on your own, man. Because then you can't get too mad at nobody but yourself. You can't be let down other by yourself, right? The only person that can let you down is yourself. Because it's like you can ask a veteran of the war, man. Ask any veteran of a war and ask him to see if their camaraderie brother will go hang out with the opposition. To this day, there's veterans that can't stand the Vietnamese, right? And vice versa. There's Vietnamese that can't stand the Americans, right? You can still see it today. I worked with a lot of Vietnamese people, man. And a lot of them would tell me their stories, right? That they would have to eat mice and stuff. You know, they would be victims of the white soldiers. So even to then, they still would not associate with them, man. You know, the girls that would marry the white man, their family would kind of despise them, right? They became part of the enemy, right? That's I that's where I'm getting at, man. It's like everything that we did is wiped off by you aligning with them. It's that simple, man. You had options. You had options of you had momentum. I left you with momentum, right? I left you with momentum where you could have ran with it. You could have ran with it, right? I said, I'm gonna get out the picture. Young blood's a black man. Let them deal with it, right? I left them in the momentum. I left you in the foundation to where you can speak up and you can ran with it. But instead, you aligned yourself with the enemy. And that's when I said, oh, fuck that. I have to come back in the mix, right? I thought I was gonna, I thought you were gonna do the right thing and speak, but no, you aligned yourself with the opposition. And I'm like, I have to basically start all over again. I have to basically start all over again because it gets wiped out. Nobody's gonna look at us seriously, right? Well, at least me. People are still gonna take me seriously, right? Because I haven't switched up. I haven't lost too much of my credibility because I still stand on my 10 toes. I'm still talking about what I still been talking about for the last few months. I haven't confirmed or adapted to anybody's, right? And I'm not getting paid for it. I just feel that's the right thing to do. So I thought Youngblood was on the right path. I said, man, maybe he's gonna run with it, man. I'll pass him the baton. I'll pass him the baton. But instead, it's like I gave you the baton for you to take all the information that me and you have discussed to the opposition. Treason, right? It's called treason, right? Because now you're adding value to yourself because you know stuff of what I've told you, right? You've added value to yourself, right? People already didn't like you because they're already seeing you one way or this way, but they know, hey, he's been interacting with Noel, so he must, let's pick his brain to see what he knows. Right? It's treason at its best, man. I don't know what other words to explain it. Right? I brought you into my inner circle, disclosed information, and now you valued because of the information that you have. That's my point, right? I mean, I know anybody in my position sees the same thing, man. It's like it's almost like a it's wiped out, man. It's like everything that we set out to do or did was pointless, man. It's pointless because now people are not doubting me, right? Those are not my actions. Those are Youngblood's actions to where people are going to start questioning and doubting him. Those questions are going to start arising. Well, what makes Youngblood different than everybody else, right? Why all of a sudden did he want to hang out with Mark? You know, all these questions start. It's all those what ifs, right? You want to avoid what ifs. Because I'm the type of dude that I get one what if, man. That one what if turns into a lot of what ifs, right? And I hope I'm not the only person that has that type of mentality, right? I got smut. I got I got a. I became a victim of the social media boot game, right? It's sad to say, man. I have to call it for what it is, right? And I was doing it for the good thing. You know what I mean? Not to get paid or it'd be nice, you know. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. If you do the right thing and you're able to get compensated, why not, man? Why not? But at the same time, it's like that speaks volumes, man. It makes people start questioning your true character. Too many, you leave too many what ifs out there, and people are going to go wrong with it, man. You can see them. You can see. Yeah, see, I want to get away from this shit, man. I want to get away from this, man. This is not my genre. This is not prison. Is not my life. Like I told y'all before, man. I've only spent 2 years of prison out of my life. 2 years. So prison to me did not play a major life. It showed me stuff that I didn't want to do. You know, I didn't want to be there for the rest of my life. It showed me how to have a work ethic, working for free in the fields. It showed me how to have more heart. It showed me how to have more respect. It showed me how to be more analytic. It showed me a lot of things, right? I learned from something being in prison. I learned from my prison experience. But at the same time, it wasn't me. It didn't consume me. I was just passing by. So I'm also intrigued, right? I would be considered people that have done numerous years would consider me like nothing, man. You know, I'm almost like a civilian. 2 years in prison. What could I've seen in 2 years, or what could have I experienced in 2 years in prison? Right? I don't have that many prison stories. Right? I look for stories that are on the internet that intrigue me, and I read them. Right? I try to find people that have been in prison, if I can interview them. I'm not into the bandit or it intrigues me. I want to be a victim or a participator. Nah, young blood, I don't got nothing against you, bro. You know, it is what it is, man. I think I think most of the part it's you unknowingly that they maneuvered you that way. It's not all your fault, man. It's not completely your fault. You were just a pawn in their game, just like everybody else is a pawn in Dante's game. It's the sad reality, man. And until people can get that and comprehend, everybody's going to be fighting against each other. Right? That's what he wants, right? He wanted me to. He wanted this. He wanted to divide and conquer. Right? That's what he wanted. Right? He didn't do it personally. He did it through June. Right? He manipulated the situation to where this is where we're at. This is where we're at, right? He manipulated the situation, right? Everybody is a pawn in his game. And until people realize that, everybody's going to be bickering with each other. And what does he want? Nobody to be talking about him and him looking like, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm not on the lives. Right? But he does everything through other people, right? Through other people. I don't got nothing against you, young blood. I still call. We were still cool. I, I don't have nothing against you, man. I just feel like they use you unwillingly, unknowingly, and at some point or another, you should have realized that, hey, I'm being used. You're a smart man. You're a smart man. At one point or another, you should have been like, damn, these guys might be using me, and you should have stepped back because what they did, that's what they wanted. This is what they wanted right here, right? They wanted. I told you from the beginning. That's what they wanted, to divide and conquer. I didn't give them that opportunity. I didn't open them. I didn't open that door for them to step in. Right? You gave them that opportunity, knowingly or unknowingly. Right? But there comes to a point where you start realizing, man, but hey, it seems like, man, I know it wasn't all your fault. That's why I understand the situation, man. I have to understand that we're in this situation because somebody manipulated the situation, right? Somebody manipulated the situation for you to go over there and hang out with Mark. Somebody manipulated the situation for you can come hang out with you, or you can hang out with the opposition, right? So they can get what they wanted. Which was this, right? I knew what the end game was. This is what they wanted, right? I don't got no problems with young blood, man. I don't have no animosity or hate or I I'm gonna talk to young blood off. I don't got nothing against him. It's just he was bamboozled. It was manipulation and tactics of Dante, right? All set in motion, right? June, get young blood over here so we can separate them. Let's conquer and divide. Let's get him over here. Start making young blood feeling good. Start making him feel comfortable. Make him feel part of the team. Make him feel accepted. Let him go over there with Mark. Don't start the share up. Just let them kick it. That way they can look like people they can start making discredit looking young blood. Young blood, we can start throwing our narrative out there. We can start throwing our narrative out there that don't trust young blood. Don't trust young blood because at the end of the day, young blood's the only one that can confirm Mark's the predator, right? So what they did was docile you, right? Without you knowing, they calmed you down. They comfort you and they brought you into the inner circle, made you part. So now they lowered your guard against Mark, right? But Dante is still, and NS are still on the border because you're Muslim, right? They're still on the fence about you. So they're borderline with you. I see all this. You, myself, and everybody else is just a pawn in the manipulation of this guy's game. That's all they wanted. That's all they wanted was to divide and conquer. That's it. But see, young blood doesn't fit the puppet master's agenda, right? So that's why he puts June and God Soldier out there. It's a domino effect. It's Dante, June. June goes down either to God Soldier. Dante does Just Jay and everybody else, right? Forensics, Noonie, all these other characters, right? Dante deals with them. Dante hates God Soldier. Dante doesn't like Youngblood. So June deals with God Soldier and Youngblood, right? That's his managing aspect, right? That's who he manages, right? June manages God Soldier and Youngblood. June tries to manipulate the situation on that end, right? And Dante manipulates the situation on the other end, right? But at the end, it's just Dante's manipulating the whole situation, right? Because all June is doing is being a puppet for Dante. That's it. That's it. I hope Youngblood doesn't get offended or I'm going against them. I'm just calling it like how I see it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people see it, right? And I'm thinking that Youngblood it was for him was more unknowingly, right? Because that's how these guys work. They give you negative and positive reinforcement, right? That's what they do, right? Through so many accounts, fake accounts. It sucks, man. It sucks. It sucks. So I'm not. If I was to say I'm mad at anybody, or it's at Dante, man. All my anger, it's at Dante, right? Because Dante is the one that's setting everything in motion, right? He's manipulating everybody, right? Everybody, right? And until people realize the situation and start blaming the common denominator that is Dante and start holding him accountable for everybody going against each other, man. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's arguing. Everybody's calling everybody out on what they see. Why? Because he manipulated the situation because that's what he wanted, right? We're just all pawns, right? Myself included, right? But I've seen, I've already know what he's doing, right? But a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. You know, that's my thing on Youngblood. The only thing that I wish Youngblood would have done, man, because this is what I would have done, right? If you if the let's switch places, vice versa, right? If Youngblood would have left, I would have still stayed on the same path, right? I would have still kept on going, right? I would have still kept on the same path, either alone or with somebody else like-minded, right? I would have not aligned myself with the opposition. I'm just going off based off something I would do, right? I would do. Me personally, if the places were switched around, I would have grabbed the baton Youngblood passed to me, and I would have ran with it, right? I would have ran with the baton. Now, if Youngblood would have came back weeks later and said, "Hey, what's going on?" and see me aligned with the opposition, you'd be like, "What the fuck happened?" Right? You now everything's coming through your minds. You'd be like, "Damn, everything that we did, every battle plan that we discussed, the possibility of you discussing with the ops is highly right." So all the battle plans that I discussed with you could be compromised, right? I mean, if you were in my just young blood, put yourself in my situation. Anybody I battle that would be considered treason. You know what I mean? Especially having battle plans, insight, it's espionage. You know what I mean? It's like instead of saying, what, I got all this momentum, I have all these resources, I can do it myself. Nah, young blood. I'm right now when I get off, I'm gonna reach out to young blood. You know, it's nothing. Me and you, I still see you as a friend, man. I don't see you as an enemy. When you texted me, are we still good? I said, yes, we're still good. Nothing's changed with me, man. That was yesterday or the day before. But we have to show the world what this guy is doing to us, man. If I don't show you what we're doing, then we're not going to know, right? It kind of sucks that I have to be the bad guy, right? And in reality, I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy, right? But sometimes I have to, I guess, assume that role to show the people that it's not us, man. It's the one and only that's creating all this content, right? He's the one that likes all this drama. He's the one that likes all this. So when Youngblood asked me if we're still cool, I'm not mad at Youngblood, right? Because I know he's a victim just like myself, and everybody else is a victim of this guy's manipulation tactics, right? So why would I be mad at somebody that's really unaware of what was really going on, right? I can't, man. All I can do is speak on it, bring it to the table, and that's it, man. And show people the deceit this guy does to put everybody against each other, right? Because the common thing here is to help people, right? Not to bring the next man down. But we got one guy, right? There's one character going, turning everybody against each other, right? And then nobody's holding him accountable, right? Because he surrounded himself with other people. I've already told you who manipulates the situation. Dante NS hates God Soldier. Can't stand God Soldier, right? They can't stand him because he's always drunk in his character. He's annoying, right? Now you got NS, that's a Christian fanatic, right? He's a refugee, right? He's a refugee from his country, right? Because the Muslims were prosecuting him, right? So NS really hates Muslims with a passion. It's understandable. He went through it, right? If you know your research or your history or you pay attention, you should know what I'm talking about, right? So NS really hates Muslims, right? He's seen what they do over there on that side of town. We don't see what they do over there, right? He has seen what they really do. So he hates him. So NS and Dante won't let with Youngblood. So he's inserted June to handle God Soldier and Youngblood, right? And Dante manipulates everybody else, right? But Dante is still manipulating June, right? That's how he's able to manipulate Youngblood and God Soldier. So till when everybody realizes that Dante is the one that's fucking everybody, putting everybody against each other, man, and everybody starts holding that guy accountable, this is never going to end, man. And it's sad to say that we went from trying to prove Mark guilty to everybody personally attacking each other, which I don't have no problem with Youngblood. I'm cool. He asked me, I would have told him, no, we're cool. But we have to show the people, man, of what they wanted to do. This is their whole game plan. This is what they wanted, right? But people are not going to understand unless we show them. I hope you understand, Youngblood. Ain't nothing. I'm still cool with you, man. It's nothing. It's just you got to see how it is. And I hope you can sit back and analyze and see my point of view. That I'm not attacking you. That switch seats. You get in the driver's seat. You get in the driver's seat. And I get in the passenger. And we switch roles. You're gonna have the same thoughts. If you're a smart man, you're gonna have the same thoughts or similar thoughts, or maybe even worse thoughts, right? These are the same guys that apologize many times, young blood. I showed you text messages of these guys apologizing. And what did they say about those text messages? That number wasn't his no more, right? Backtracking from the apology. Even through right now, he's sticking to that, right? Or Mark's guilty. Mark's guilty. So why offend me, then apologize, then fake apology, then why? That's and the thing is, young blood, we had to address it, young blood. There was too many comments in the section calling you this, that, and that, trying to spin their own narrative about you. And you want to cut that out, man. You don't want people to think, oh man, young blood got something to hide. Young blood was doing the same shit. Maybe the stories that Mark was saying, people run with this narrative. I know, because look how many narratives they ran on me, man. And if you read the comments, there was plenty of people saying young blood this, young blood that, young blood this. So before I addressed the issue, there was already people commenting, saying this about young blood, young blood, young blood, young blood. I don't think you did it. I feel like you're a victim, just like myself and everybody else in Dante's manipulated game. We're all victims in it, man. We're all victims. And I hope you can understand, just like I understand that we've been manipulated, right? For this outcome, right? This is what we have to show it, right? And it sucks, man, because that's the only way people learn, man. They have to see it for themselves. If I would have kept it in, we would never show it, right? And like I said, young, but I don't got nothing against you. I don't got no animosity. I don't got no hate, man. God knows I don't got no hate towards you, my brother. I don't, man. Because I know it's not you. I know you're not the one that set the ball in motion. It was Dante in June, right? And everybody that's manipulating the situation for their agenda. It all starts with Dante. Dante, 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 Dante. Right? Dante has caused so much destruction in this short, very time where in reality, people could probably be good friends, man. You know, people will probably have more relatable stuff and probably have more in common and more cordial, more respectful if it wasn't for the shenanigans of Dante, right? A lot of people I had to tell to kick rocks. You think I like telling people to fuck off? You think I like telling people to kick rocks? I had to tell people kick rocks because people were being manipulated by Dante's narrative, right? Dante will get in his false accounts and spin narrative out there and spin it, and people will run with it, right? And I would tell people to kick rocks. I would block them. I would ban them, right? But this is all because the manipulation and deceit of Dante, right? He's manipulated so many situations on my end to where I have to block people and tell people to kick rocks, right? Made enemies of people that were friends prior, right? All because he's manipulated the situation to fit the agenda. I realize that he's the one that's doing all this, but I don't know when other people are going to realize and hold him accountable, man. Be like, hey, this ain't about Mark no more, man. This is just for you to try to get content and views off people's exploitative. Like, it's no longer about Mark no more, man. Right? That's what you wanted all along to do, create so much destruction amongst people that Mark can get left over. It got to the point that Mark is able to got a fucking girlfriend right now. Right? It's so sad that Mark got a girlfriend right now because Dante was able to push the narrative of saying Mark is not guilty. Right? And I'm pretty sure Dante already talked to that girl and said, oh, no, we're doing all this for the money. This is all scripted. Right? So the girl is falling for it. So now that girl believes that these guys are on YouTube scheming and plotting that that documentary Mark did 30 years must have been scripted as well. So she's being bamboozled and manipulated by Dante's tactics as well, right? Everybody's a victim, right? Because I guarantee you, if that female that Mark's dating or in a relationship, if Mark was really to tell her what he did, she would not be with them. She would be sickening, right? What woman would want to be with a man like that, knowing that he's like, maybe if he was a Christian and be like, look, that was a part of me, and I did some wild shit, baby. But that ain't me no more. I'm a changed man. Maybe then, right? But now that relationship that Mark got is just built off deceit and exploitative, right? Just Dante done spin the narrative so good that Mark was innocent that Mark was able to get himself a relationship. How else can a man like Mark get into a relationship? Would you let your mom date Mark? Would you let your aunt date him? Would you let your enemy's mom date him? Fuck no, man. Because at the end of the day, that poor lady ain't got nothing to do with it, right? But until we, as a YouTube community, start holding these content creators that are doing all this, everybody's going to be fighting, man. And the only one that's going to be profiting is Dante, right? It's Dante. All right, y'all, man. I'll be back here shortly, man. I'm going to let my phone charge. And thank you, everybody that's been rocking with me, man. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back shortly.